Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy today's episode.
Aisha and Shafirgru received the reply, thankful that they escaped from death, and hurriedly commanded the warship to turn around. But in order not to lead the galaxy fleet to their own territory, after sailing for a while, they began to yaw. Meng Ze didn't expect to find the Protoss by following them, so he didn't send warships to follow them. Shafirgru, have you detected the image of the other party? After sailing for a while, and after Shafirgru felt no surveillance at all, Aisha asked. He still wanted to figure out who his opponent was. The opponent is too far away and can only detect the opponent's spatial fluctuations. Shafirgru felt helplessly that the perception ability of the opponent's warship was obviously better than his and others. Hearing Shafirgru's words, Aisha felt a haze in his heart. I hope these people don't have any malice towards the Protoss. After being rejected by Aka, Meng Ze didn't care. Just like what Aka said, he is still idle when he is idle. Countless fleets are vacationing in the interstellar world Nebula, which is also a waste. Meng Ze once again sent tens of billions of warships of various types from the interstellar world, of which more than 100 million ships formed a million exploration fleets to investigate everywhere. In addition, in order to prevent the Protoss from running around, Meng Ze directly covered the entire surrounding of the Milky Way with his field of vision through teleportation. This operation directly cost billions of warships, which is simply abnormal. This move by Meng Ze caused the Milky Way to be thrown into chaos in the following period of time. Those civilizations that could not detect the movement of the dimensional space at all are fine, and they don't know anyway. And those third and fourth level civilizations that can detect space fluctuations are all trembling with fear. Imperial Federation. Because of the turmoil caused by the 6th level commander Song Shani, after a year, it seems that it has calmed down. The Imperial Federation dispatched 3 commanders at once to suppress Song Shani, which really shocked some commanders who were ready to move. But there is no impenetrable wall in the world. After more than a year, the source of the 6th level commander of the Imperial Federation in this incident has gradually been figured out. Commander Nanliangjia, I believe you are also aware that the Imperial Federation has removed all the 6th level commanders in your subworld this time, and it should be impossible to come up with more 6th level commanders. I think it should be its time for you to fulfill your promise. Old Wakana Alawana Meyer told Nanliangjia, the 6th level commander of the Imperial Federation, in the communication. Old man of the Aravana Mayer family, how do you know that there are no more 6th level commanders in the Imperial Federation, and who is the one who took over the tasks of the previous 3 commanders? Don't think he is a newcomer and ignore him, Nanliangjia said. Commander Nanliangjia, please rest assured that this time, you will not act alone, and more people will cooperate with you. Seeing the political turmoil in the Imperial Federation last time, the Vakanas are ready to mobilize other commanders to force the palace together, and at the same time secretly assist the Zerg to enter the hinterland of the Imperial Federation. With a multi-pronged approach, there is a high possibility of turmoil in the Imperial Federation. In addition, there are people in the Imperial Federation who cooperate and actively invite the Wakana people to support them. In this way, the Wakana people will have the opportunity to intervene under the pretext of gaining opportunities in the subworld have greatly increased. But just when he was about to hit the door, he was caught off guard by the sudden appearance of 3 6th level commanders. Because they couldn't figure out the whole cards of the Imperial Federation, all the plans were temporarily extinguished. This time the Wakana tribe brought up the old story again, because they thought they had figured out the details of the Imperial Federation. Elder Aravana Mayer, you know, it is impossible for me to betray the Imperial Federation. Nanliangjia had something in his words. How could you betray the Imperial Federation? You are doing it for reform. The Imperial Federation has been controlled by aristocratic families for too long. Without enough fresh blood, the Imperial Federation will become more and more rigid, and civilization will stop at this point. What Aravana Meyer gave is Nanliangjia's reasons for dealing with intelligent life. Although intelligent life also has its own thinking, compared with human beings, there are not so many twists and turns, so it can also be deceived. However, it is very difficult to deceive intelligent life, and it can judge the threat level to the civilization of the Empire Federation based on the actions of the commander. Of course, even if it judges that the commander's behavior is wrong, it will not ban it immediately, but will consult the commander's intention. As long as the commander's reason is sufficient, it can still be executed. And change is a good reason. I'll think about it carefully. Nan Liangjie nodded expressionlessly. After hanging up the communication, he put away the Wakana special communicator that he had turned around and sent over. Nanjie was caught in a tangle. Nan Liangjie is willing to cooperate with the Wakana tribe. The use of the Wakana tribe's life extension technology is one aspect. The other reason is that even if the Imperial Federation loses the StarWorld, it is not a bad thing. He believes that the interstellar world can only be regarded as an accelerator for cultivating commanders. So far, it has not found much effect in the hands of the Imperial Federation. To speed up the training of commanders, the Imperial Federation is not the only way, although other ways are not as efficient as the interstellar world. However, the existence of the interstellar world has brought a lot of risks to the Federation of Empires. There are 3 known civilizations of the 7th level eyeing them. Such a large risk is not proportional to the benefits from the interstellar world. Of course, Nan Liangjie also knew that since so many 7th level civilizations want the interstellar world, it means that this world is indeed a good thing. So he learned the reason through various channels. As far as Nan Liangjie knew, these 7th level civilizations wanted to find a way to advance to the 8th level through this subworld. This usefulness is too far away for the Imperial Federation with only 6 levels. Long-term benefits and immediate benefits, which is more important, each has its own ideas. Among the promises made by the Waka, be well, not people to Nan Liangjie, one is not to involve the territory of the Imperial Federation, but to help the Imperial Federation fight against the Zerg, and the third is to provide 7-level civilization technology in exchange. It is undeniable that Nan Liangjie was moved. Nan Liangjie's thoughts represent a part of the Imperial Federation. No 6th-level commander is a fool and will be easily seduced by the Wakana tribe. The changes mentioned by Meyer are not false. There are indeed some commanders who are dissatisfied with the current system of the Imperial Federation. Therefore, the combination of several factors has formed the current complex situation. The reason why Nan Liangjie is struggling now is that during the Songshani incident, he discovered that the standing of the 6th-level commander had more influence on the empire than his tone of voice, and it was very likely that it would lead to a civil war. For a while, he couldn't make up his mind. At this time, it wasn't just Nan Liangjie who was struggling. There were also several 6th-level commanders who had the same mentality as him. Zerg territory. After a year of development, Alexei has consolidated his own territory. When Meng Ze arranged for Ablek, considering the containment of the front line and Ablek's development space, the location of the release was not in the river systems directly facing the Imperial Federation, but it was also close to the frontline river system. Therefore, Albrecht's development has had some impact on the front line. In the beginning, the impact was not great. The leader of the Zerg race was busy fighting with the Empire Federation, and only dispatched a small number of troops, intending to kill or expel this outsider. Unexpectedly, under the First World War, the troops sent by the Zerg were directly slaughtered. So the Zerg leader changed his strategy and prepared to appease Alexei. But Albrecht himself is in the interstellar world. How can he be recruited? And Albrecht thinks he is superior to insects, so he doesn't look down on these natives at all. But Abelek is not stupid, knowing that he will not be able to defeat the outside Zerg for a while, so he pretends to be a snake and adopts delaying tactics. After negotiating for half a year, with the condition of handing over 50% of the resources, 1/3 of the autonomy of the river system was obtained. Perhaps in the eyes of the opposing Zerg, after Albrecht 623 grams has handed over half of the resources, no matter how it develops, it is impossible to compare with itself, not to mention that the territory it occupies is so small. But it is even more impossible for the Zerg in the real universe to think that Albrecht's main source of troops is no longer in this world at all. After a year of accumulation, after obtaining the approval of Meng Ze for the application to continue to send troops, Alexei directly sent all the troops in the star field of the headquarters. In his opinion, since he can't beat the big king Meng Ze anyway, it's better to do a thorough job to gain the king's trust. After the troops were transferred, Alex's confidence increased greatly, and he was no longer satisfied with only one-third of the river system's territory and prepared to tear up the agreement and expand wantonly. Layers upon layers of Zerg elite troops densely covered the void. Without the encirclement and suppression of the 6th-level commanders, the speed at which Alberic accumulated troops was abnormally fast. In 1 year, plus the already existing troops, Alex's current elite interstellar Zerg troops numbered nearly 10 billion. Once upon a time, when the number of troops increased, Alberic still had a little thought. But when Meng Ze's endless fleet passed through Alexei's territory, unscrupulously, the weak flame in Alexei's heart was instantly extinguished by it. Meng Ze's actions even left a psychological shadow on Alberic. Then Alberic also thought about it. He would definitely not be able to beat the king. The king must have all the authority it has, and it will only be more and stronger. That's why Alexei later passed on all the troops to the outside world, expressing his complete admiration. Now, looking at his superstar troop, Alexei is in high spirits. It can't beat the big king. Can it beat others, worms? Today is the beginning of Alec, the king of the Zerg race, becoming famous in this world. Although Abelic's tone was impassioned, his plump body and disproportionately small short hands really didn't have much momentum. But no matter what, Abelic's Zerg legions set off. A total of 100, each of about 100 million Zerg legions rushed in all directions like locusts. Albrecht already had quite a reputation within the Zerg race, and most of the Zerg races would surrender in anticipation of Alberic's troops. Individuals even took the initiative to express their surrender before the troops arrived. At this time, Alberic also knew the reason why the other Zerg surrendered so quickly. It's really the leader of the 6th-level Zerg here, that Mariano bug. It's really too dark. Not to mention the 95% supply rate, and regardless of the output, the monthly supply amount cannot be reduced. Once the confession cannot be completed, this Zerg race will face the crisis of genocide. As an upper-level Zerg, Mariano is not worried about not having a younger brother at all. He has a split method, and younger brothers can be mass-produced. Although these branch Zergs are all made by Mariano, they are not without ideas. The worms have suffered from Mariano for a long time, and now there is finally an existence that can fight against Mariano. Why don't they hurry up and seek refuge? Abelic's territory is increasing at a speed of hundreds of light years every day. As long as he encounters a planet where Mariano is stationed, Alberic will mobilize a large number of troops, swarm up, and bully the opponent's rear emptiness, completely ignoring tactics. Mariano was going crazy. As a Zerg leader who has been fighting against the Imperial Federation for a long time, Mariano can clearly feel the recent loosening of the Imperial Federation's defense line. The opportunity is so good. Mariano has mobilized a considerable number of Zerg legions, ready to swarm up when the time comes, concentrate superior forces, and break through the defense line of the Imperial Federation. After that, blood-breeding wormholes were built in the Imperial Federation. As long as the follow-up troops keep up, it can definitely tear a piece of flesh from the Empire Federation. Under the ups and downs, not only can we weaken the Imperial Federation and strengthen ourselves, but we can also fully occupy the strategic initiative in the future. However, at such a critical time, his old nest actually caught fire. Although Mariano's territory, including the Zerg branch, is quite large, there are as many as 16 river systems. But seeing that Albrecht was coming so fiercely this time, he didn't dare to let him grow stronger, so he had to draw troops from the front line to solve his own internal troubles first. Alberic, you traitor! I must make you a living nourishment. Mariano spoke cruelly to Alexei from the air. Ha ha ha! You would beetle! You dare to collect resources from your ancestor Alberic. If I don't kill you, you don't know how powerful I am, the king of Zerg, Alberic. Alexei was not to be outdone. Both sides are Zerg, and the county species are exactly the same. The leaders of both sides, one is the Zerg leader who has fought with the 6th-level commanders in the interstellar world for hundreds of years, and the other is an old fritter who has fought for hundreds of years with the Protoss and the Imperial Federation in the real universe. The two sides come and go on a front tens of thousands of light years wide, mingling as one. Abelic's troops are all elite Zerg, and the individual strength has a certain advantage. Mariano's army was a mixture of elite and legendary troops, but the number was several times that of Alberic's, and the opponent's territory was huge, so even if he lost temporarily, he could still get far and constant replenishment. In the early stage, Alexei had the advantage, but as time passed, Alexei began to feel strenuous. But what kind of a bug is Albrecht? It has unique skills. The interstellar world, the Zerg Forbidden Land. Albrecht solemnly pressed the communication button. As soon as the communication was connected, the message that had been prepared was sent out instantly. "My lord, help me." As if knowing that Meng Ze could see him, Alexei managed to squeeze out 2 huge drops of insect tears. Damn it, this bug is really good at acting. Meng Ze was amused by Albrecht's performance, and then checked Albrecht's situation in the Zerg territory. Although it is true that he is at a disadvantage, it is far from the time to save his life. But the opponent is fighting the Zerg outside, and Meng Ze is willing to give it some support. So Meng Ze asked AKA to temporarily open a back door for it, reducing the resource consumption of the original rare level to the common level. Seeing Meng Ze's operation, Alexei realized how naive he was in wanting to resist. "I have already opened the hook, but at most it is a free prostitute, and the other party's hook is a gold VIP level, so it would be hell if this special meow can beat it." With the small stove opened by Meng Ze, Abelic's explosive troops are at full speed, and a steady stream of follow-up troops marched into the territory of the real world. The pressure on Mariano was increasing, and he had to continue to draw troops from the front line back to the rear oppression. At this time, the commanders of the Imperial Federation were keenly aware of the weakness of the Zerg frontline. After paying a huge investigation cost, the intelligence of the Zerg civil war finally broke out. Originally, this should belong to the heaven-sent opportunity of the Imperial Federation, but at this time, 7 6th-level commanders, Nanliangjia, Song Shani, Peng Qifeng, Wang Qi, Dongshan Yuqi, Li Jianhua, and Sikong Weifeng, spoke out at the same time, demanding that the Imperial Federation reform the commander-in-chief. Electoral system. Not only that, the 7 commanders also began to mobilize the fleet on the Zerg side of the defense zone, and gathered in large numbers on the side of the Empire Federation, as if they would go to war if they disagreed. The situation that had just eased suddenly surged, and this time the wave was many times bigger than the previous one. Speaking of which, this incident is still the fault of Meng Ze. The few commanders who were still hesitant under the pressure of the Zerg suddenly found that the pressure from the Zerg was greatly reduced. After the investigation discovered the intelligence of the Zerg civil war, they made up their minds to quickly change the situation of the Empire Federation, while the Zerg couldn't spare the opportunity. Faced with the persecution of these 6th-level commanders, the Imperial Federation Central Committee would naturally not allow it. It immediately cut off the other party's supplies and issued a statement requiring these commanders to abide by their duties and adhere to the political principle of not choosing sides. Turn from the wrong path. The determined commanders will naturally not be persuaded to return by the statement of the Imperial Federation. The 7 commanders issued a joint statement asking the high-level officials of the Imperial Federation to come up with a reform plan within a time limit to solve their joint concerns. Otherwise, they will use all possible means. At the same time, these commanders also called on more commanders, especially the commanders from the bottom, to stand up and break the monopoly of the aristocratic family on the power of the Imperial Federation. All of a sudden, the Imperial Federation seemed to become a powder keg, and as long as one was not careful, it would explode. At this time, the situation of the 3 big bosses who were in the same river system as Song Shani, the Killer, and Cashandela Worley is not good. Originally, it was the 3 big bosses who suppressed Song Shani, but unexpectedly, in the blink of an eye, the 3 were surrounded by Nanliangjia, Dongshan Yuqi, Li Jinhua, Wang Qi, plus Song Shani, 5 6th-level commanders. At this moment, there is no confusion for a moment. The Killer and Cashandela Worley gathered on the same channel, looking at each other with wry smiles. The world is changing too fast. Feng Shui takes turns, the originally good situation. Who knows that it will become like this in a blink of an eye? How are you doing now? For a moment, he asked without being confused. There is a lot of pressure. I have contacts with the fleets of Song Shani, Dongshan Yuqi, and Li Jianhua. Now everyone is still waiting for the reply from the high-level Federation. They have not done anything yet. However, judging from the situation of the confrontation, once the war starts, I estimate that the resistance not long, said the killer. My side is similar. Wang Qi's main force and Dongshan Yuqi's fleet are pressing me. Now I can only try my best to maintain the channel with the Imperial Federation. Once the war starts, the fleet may not be able to keep up. Fortunately, the star field of the world has been preserved. Cashandela Worley said happily. By the way, don't be confused. What about your side? You are facing the main force of Nanliangjie and Songshani. Cashandela Worley asked. There must be pressure, but they won't be able to do anything to me for a while. But this is not the way to go. I found that many commanders of the Imperial Federation are about to make trouble recently. What those people said is too inflammatory. For a moment, he frowned without being confused. Yeah, but they don't think about it. Can it be better if they change a group of people? It is said that the aristocratic family has all the power, but the aristocratic family is not eternal. Every year, new families come out. They all originated from the bottom, and the blood rotation function of the Empire and the Federation has not been completely lost, so there is no need for such a radical approach. 17 killers obviously do not agree with the actions of the commanders like Nanliangjie. I also believe that the real elite cannot be buried, but unfortunately many people will believe their words. For a moment, he said without being confused and helpless. The war between the Empire Federation and the Zerg has been going on for so many years, and it is simply unreasonable for such a great opportunity to be wasted by these people. The situation in the Empire was originally stable, and the life of the citizens of the Empire was pretty good. If civil strife really breaks out in the Empire, then who can take care of it? Cashandela Worley was also extremely dissatisfied. To say that the 3 6th-level commanders are not from aristocratic families, they all rely on their talents and abilities to work hard to get ahead. In fact, their appearance also represents the smooth flow of the upper and lower channels of the Imperial Federation. But apparently some people want more. The 3 of them were silent for a while, and all they could do in the current situation was to wait for the situation to become clear. I don't know how Meng Ze is. Has any of you seen him recently? He suddenly asked without being confused for a moment. Both the killer and Casandela Worley shook their heads. They have also entered the interstellar world, but once they enter the interstellar world, their connection with the outside world is extremely difficult. Once they are discovered, they are easily taken by others, so they are in a hurry every time. Have you seen each other lately? Casandela Worley asked without being lost for a moment. No, but I thought, maybe I can go and meet him. That boy Meng Ze has grown too fast. Now a year has passed. Who knows how strong this guy will be? Maybe when we will need him again help. The other 2 agreed with the statement that there is no confusion for a moment. Everyone has seen Meng Ze's monster-like development speed, and they don't know how the other party does it. Milky Way, Otero Civilization, Protoss, Territory. The entire Protoss clan has become completely tense, and various resources have begun to concentrate and mass-produce warships. It is impossible for Meng Ze to hide from the detection system of the Protoss clan when he conducts a large-scale investigation, and Meng Ze has never thought of hiding it. Leader, the situation is getting worse. The opponent's latest investigation was less than 30 light-years away from the civilized territory, and judging from the frequency of investigations, the opponent has already discovered us. Graf applied sternly. Since the first reconnaissance information came back, the Protoss began to prepare for war. It's just that no one thought that the other party's movements were so fast and precise, and they could find them very quickly. Naturally, the Protoss people would not have thought that Meng Ze could not find anything accurately at all, but used the how. True heavenly girl scattering flowers scouting technique. As long as they are still in the Milky Way, even if they are in the corners, they will not be able to hide for long. Have you noticed any changes in the other party? Edwald asked. He was not only asking about Graf, but also asking about Yuriko. The other party has no signs of doing anything to any civilization. Yuriko and his subordinates have puppets in many civilizations, and the core information of each civilization is collected here. I haven't detected the gathering of the opposing fleet either. Graf replied. I didn't perceive any special crisis on 147. Edwald said, maybe the other party is not coming for us. But anyway, be prepared first. Leader, do you want to prepare to move? This river system actually has a 6th-level civilization, which is too detrimental to our development. Graf suggested. Edwald thought about it and felt that it was better to be prepared, so he nodded and said, Graf, you secretly arranged to prepare for the migration and build a large stargate outside the river system in advance. A way out. There are not many Eureka. You arranged to transfer 10 million racial elites and let them disperse and hide in other civilizations until the risk is eliminated. After Graf and Eureka took orders and left, Edwald sighed silently. The Protoss race is really full of disasters. Logically speaking, the universe is so big, the probability of encountering a 6th-level civilization is actually not high. Who knew that the Protoss would find a random river system to settle down, and they would encounter a 6th-level civilization, and it seemed to be a top-level 6th-level civilization, which was really unlucky. Blue Star. Meng Ze is listening to Shao Ka's report. The affairs of the interstellar world did not consume too much energy for Meng Ze. After he became the boss behind Abelic, Meng Ze did not care too much about the affairs there. Meng Ze's intelligence channels in the Imperial Federation are limited, and because he doesn't regard himself as a member of the Imperial Federation at all, he usually doesn't bother to take the initiative to pay attention to the information of the Imperial Federation. As long as no one takes the initiative to inform, it usually takes a long time for Meng to know what happened there. This time, even though there was such a huge turmoil in the Imperial Federation, Meng Ze still didn't know anything about it. The Meng family didn't want the family's biggest reliance in the future to be involved in this matter, so they have been delaying some of the family's requests, not expressing their position clearly, and waiting for the situation to become clear. So, the territory of the so-called Otero civilization has been fully explored, right? Meng Ze said. Yes, Commander. Shao Ka replied. Send me the star map. As soon as the words fell, a 3-dimensional star map appeared in Meng Ze's mind. It doesn't look small. The distance at the longest end is almost 5,000 light years. Meng Ze sighed. Although he found out the territory of the Protoss clan, Meng Ze hadn't figured out how to deal with it yet. It is true that the Protoss are enemies of the Imperial Federation, but it has nothing to do with him, Meng Ze, and the Protoss have never provoked him. The only bad thing about the Protoss is that they appeared in the Milky Way. Why don't you just drive out? Meng Ze thought to himself. No matter what you plan to do, I suggest you get something from the Protoss before this. AKA's voice suddenly appeared. What? Meng Ze was taken aback and asked. The Wakana core technology obtained by the Protoss. AKA said. The Protoss actually got this kind of thing? What a beast. The Protoss couldn't be beaten just because of this, right? Meng Ze said in surprise. Indeed it is. AKA, what use are we using this thing? Improve the technology of the interstellar world, and your fleet can also be upgraded. Your future opponent may not necessarily be a 6th-level civilization, AKA said. Meng Ze thought that what AKA was talking about was its original civilization, so he immediately agreed. Although I don't know how useful the technology of the 7th-level civilization can be against the 8th-level civilization, it is better than nothing. In fact, what AKA meant was not at all, but seeing Meng Ze agreeing, he didn't bother to correct this misunderstanding. Now that he had another purpose, Meng Ze immediately became active. Deterrence first, it would be best if the opponent can directly hand over this technique. Otherwise, you can only use your fists. Between civilizations, there is actually not much reason to talk about. Meng Ze will not think that the Protoss are kind-hearted little white rabbits and have any sympathy for them. After making up his mind, Meng Ze immediately used a super large-scale world teleportation. The Protoss didn't react at all, and violent fluctuations appeared throughout the entire territory. At this moment, the alarm in Edwald's mind seemed to break through the sky. Genocide crisis. Edwald's expression changed drastically. Before he could do anything, a communication from the pass frequency reached him. Edwald didn't dare to hesitate and immediately picked it up. Protoss. The first sentence in the communication made Edwald terrified. Don't worry, if you meet my request, I won't do anything to you. Fortunately, the other party's next sentence reassured Edwald a little. As long as there is a request, I am afraid that the other party will not ask. If you have any request, just ask. We Protoss will do our best to meet your request. Edwald said hastily. Are you the leader of the Protoss? Yes, Your Excellency. I am Edwald, the leader of the Protoss. Huh? Isn't your leader named Sarnaga? Meng Ze knew that the Protoss clan had a long lifespan, and the leaders were lifelong. He had heard the name of the Protoss clan leader Sarnaga before, so he remembered it. It's just that listening to it now, it seems that the leader of the Protoss clan has changed. Your Excellency, the leader of Naganaga has been called by God to go to another world, and now I am guiding the Protoss. Oh, this is not important, Meng Ze said indifferently. I know that you have obtained a piece of information from the Wakana tribe. You hand it over to me, and then leave this river system. We will be settled. Your Excellency, that information was obtained at the cost of our Protoss civilization. It seems inappropriate for you to take it away so easily. Edwald heard Meng Ze's request, and endless anger surged in his heart. But now that the gun is on his forehead, he doesn't even dare to say harsh words. How aggrieved that the dignified leader of the 6th-level civilization has fallen to such a point. How could I take it away so easily? I'm giving you the future of the Protoss clan in exchange. Meng Ze said lightly, and what came with his words, there is also a star map of the Protoss territory and the distribution of Meng Ze's fleet. From this star map, Edwald can clearly see that the opponent's fleet has enveloped the entire Protoss race. As long as the other party gives an order, the Star Spirit race can be severely injured in the blink of an eye. Leader. At this moment, Graf and Yuriko ran in quickly. Just as he was about to report, he found a complete three-dimensional star map of the Protoss territory suspended in front of the leader, even including the distribution of the opponent's fleet. When did the intelligence capabilities of our Protoss become so powerful? Graf and Yuriko were not at a loss. But soon the two realized that something was wrong. The leader Edwald's face was extremely ugly, his eyes were struggling with pain, and he felt indecisive and heartbroken. Leader. The two called at the same time. Edwald waved his hand to stop the conversation between the two. Your Excellency, I can promise you, but how can you guarantee that after the things are given to you, you will not continue to attack our Protoss clan? My word is the best guarantee, Edwald. You have made a wise decision. Just when Edwald was about to take out the Wakana tower chip he got from Sarnaga, Graf suddenly shouted, Leader, you can't promise him. The opponent is the Empire Federation. What? Ed was shocked. Relying on his telepathy, he discovered the crisis of genocide, but he still has no clear information, and he doesn't know what civilization is besieging the Protoss. Who would have thought that at this time, such astonishing information was actually obtained from Graf? Seeing that the deal was about to be concluded, Meng Ze was suddenly speechless. However, Meng Ze also held his breath and did not speak first. Your Excellency, how do you explain this? Edwald asked with an ugly face. Edwald, listen carefully. I'll just say it once, whether you believe it or not. If you don't agree to the conditions after that, then war will begin. Why? Hearing Edwald's questioning, Meng Ze felt very unhappy, but he didn't want to make it like the Blue Star soap opera, a misunderstanding that can be explained clearly in a few words, and could involve dozens of episodes, so he decided to say a few words. Thank you, sir, and I am all ears. Hearing Meng Ze's tone, Edwald immediately reacted and changed his attitude. He is 0.3, and he has no right to be angry at all. I am the independent commander of the Empire Federation, and I have the power to make my own decisions. The hatred between the Empire Federation and the Protoss hundreds of years ago has nothing to do with me. I don't want to kill you. What's more, your race is like the biggest enemy of the bereaved dog is also the Vakanak, and the Vakanak and the Imperial Federation are not very good at dealing with each other. The reasons given by Meng Ze are still convincing. Edwald didn't hesitate any longer, took out the Wakana tower chip and said, Here is what you want. Please send someone to get it. I just hope you can keep your promise. Very good. My people will arrive in 5 minutes. You can leave after I verify everything is correct. During this process, I hope that no unpleasant things will happen. Meng Ze said. Don't worry, Your Excellency. The Star Spirit clan will never dare to offend Your Excellency. Facts have proved that even if the Protoss are not completely sure, they dare not bet on the fate of the whole family. The transaction was successfully completed. Meng Ze kept his promise, withdrew his fleet, and gave the Protoss 10 days to move. Time is definitely not enough. So the Protoss had to discard a lot of things. Even if it wasn't bleeding, it was still skinned. This can be regarded as a little lesson from Meng Ze to the other party. The migration of the entire Protoss clan with the skin of the Otero civilization shocked the civilization of the entire Milky Way, and the impact it brought was enormous. All civilizations above the third level in the Milky Way know that the BCY** Milky Way has a dominant civilization. The two sides in the civil war in Ulster immediately stopped the exchange of fire and voluntarily announced the contraction of the territory and no further expansion in the future. Although the other civilizations did not issue any announcements, they were all silent. Meng Ze didn't have the slightest feeling about this and decided to expel the Star Spirit race. Meng Ze immediately announced the expulsion plan for all civilizations of level 3 and above. Depending on the level of civilization, give them time ranging from 1 year to 10 years to prepare. The purpose of Meng Ze is very simple. It is to leave a clean river system for the Blue Star civilization and let the Blue Star civilization develop freely. As for the civilizations of level 2 and below, Meng Ze deliberately stayed behind. Meng Ze knew what kind of urine the Blue Stars were. After my initial support, these civilizations happened to be the opponents of the Blue Star civilization and the objects of military training. After having the StarWorld, Meng Luo had to think about when he had to leave Blue Star. After all, I still have an opponent with an 8th level civilization. The affairs of the Milky Way were dealt with quickly by Meng Ze. There have also been earth-shaking changes on Blue Star's side. After more than a year, Xiagwa became Blue Star's well-deserved super overlord. The Xia Kingdom, which has become stronger, has opened the era of inner saints and outer kings, and from time to time speaks to certain countries with a status of strength 28. Other countries are still arguing about the titles of several generations of aircraft in Blue Star, and Xiagwa's first space battleship has already started its trial voyage. In the entire Blue Star, under the inspiration of the leaders of the Xia Kingdom, several countries have announced to merge into the Xia Kingdom, and more countries are queuing up. But these things are actually better than nothing, and Xiagwa's eyes are no longer on Blue Star. Xiagwa's first phase of Yinghuaxing's development plan has officially started preparations, and the living quarters on Manhwa are already under construction. At this time, Xiagwa has no shortage of territory at all. Out of the demand for the population, the marriage law and nationality law of the Xia Kingdom have also been adjusted accordingly. Xia women are deprived of their citizenship when they marry outside, and the restrictions on Chinese people marrying outside are relaxed. However, for foreign women to be naturalized, there are requirements for the number of years of marriage, the time spent in Xiagwa, and the stability of life. The childbearing encouragement policy was also introduced in a very short period of time. The rewards are graded according to the number of children born. The state provides a large amount of child-rearing subsidies. The strength is so great that women can concentrate on raising children and live a worry-free life. And in the foreseeable time, everyone in the Xia Kingdom will no longer worry about the house. The welfare policies of immigrant Manhwa and Yinghuaxing are being formulated intensively, and among them, the policy of sending housing to immigrants has attracted the attention of many Xia people. Blue Star's various changes, although it has little effect on Meng Ze, but makes Meng Ze feel very gratified. Born in the time when Xia Kingdom was suppressed by Western countries, Meng Ze has always had the idea that one day he will have the ability to challenge the world. Although he didn't do anything now, it is obvious that Xiagwa's leaders are numerous. For example, on the side of Little Days, life was very miserable because of the civil war. The relevant departments of Xia State specially formulated a plan to help women in Little Days, and exchanged food, weapons, and other materials, and introduced a large number of girls and women waiting to be rescued, mainly engaged in servants, maids, and other occupations, which enriched the population of Xiagwa and enriched the daily life of book lovers. Ng Jiang wanted to get a piece of the action, but his claws were cut off. Meng Ze, who was in a good mood, stayed at Blue Star all the time and accompanied Luo and Zhang Lingling for 2 or 3 comfortable visits. But a communication from the interstellar world interrupted his peaceful life. "What did you say?" Meng Ze couldn't believe his ears. "I just stayed in Blue Star for a while. You guys sold my house?" Time goes back to not so long ago. After the 7 border commanders of the Imperial Federation forcibly forced the Imperial Federation Central Committee and refused to recognize the statement issued by the Imperial Federation, the entire Imperial Federation became more and more explosive. After several rounds of consultations, the high-level members of the Imperial Federation quickly reached an agreement on how to deal with the demands of these commanders. They would not agree to the demands of the other party. However, there are different opinions on how to deal with the current situation. Some advocate division and disintegration, some advocate private persuasion, some advocate the use of conditional replacement, and some advocate direct suppression. After more than a month of discussion, no agreement was reached. Emperor Star Huang family. Not long after Meng Xingyue came out of the interstellar world, he saw his grandfather Huang Yue. During this period of time, Huang Yue has a tired look on his face every day, and it is still the same today. "Grandfather, has the matter not been settled yet?" Dream Star Yehue poured Huang Yue a drink to replenish energy and asked. "It's settled, but the price is too high." Huang Yue shook his head with a helpless expression. "I don't know how it was decided." Meng Xing Yehue, Huang Du, asked while pinching his grandfather's shoulder. For Huang Du, the grandson, the designated heir of the 3rd generation of the Huang family, Huang Yue is very patient and willing to train him. So Huang Yue didn't answer Huang Du's question directly, but instead asked, "Xiao Du, if it were you, how would you respond to the demands of Nan Liangjie and others?" "Grandfather, I think the 7 6th-level commanders, Nan Liangjie, Song Shani, Peng Qifeng, Wang Qi, Dong Shan Yuqi, Li Jianhua, and Xikong Weifeng, disregarded the interests of the Empire and the Federation and did not express their demands through normal channels. This kind of behavior is extremely undesirable and cannot be tolerated." Huang Du first expressed his attitude. Huang Yue nodded and asked Dong Du to continue talking non-committally. However, each of these 6th-level commanders has enormous military power, and if they are not careful, it will lead to civil war. So Sunner's idea is to use various methods to weaken them and see if it can be done. Divide the opponent and eliminate this turmoil. Huang Du only gave a general direction, then looked at his grandfather, waiting for him to speak. Huang Yue didn't comment first, but continued to ask, "Xiao Du, do you know why the other party chose this timing to launch? Is it because of the Zerg civil unrest?" Huang Du still knew the information about the Zerg civil strife, but he couldn't figure out how the Zerg, a race with distinct classes, could have civil strife. "Be specific." "Grandfather, I think the Zerg civil strife has resulted in them having no external pressure. When they launch it at this time, they can mobilize the most power without worrying about being attacked. Moreover, the pressure of public opinion from within the Empire will be less. After all, their demands need to be obtained from other sources." People's support. Huang Du thought for a while. "Since you know that the other party has chosen this time, do you think your method can be effective during this period of time? Or do you think the other party will let you delay this period of time?" Huang Yue's rhetorical question left Huang Du speechless for a while. After clicking on Huang Du, Huang Yue did not continue to criticize his grandson, but said, "Nan Liangjie and the others must have planned this for a long time, so it is necessary to rely on a soft way to solve it in the short term." Impossible. In addition, the Imperial Federation has cut off their supplies immediately, but according to the information of the Imperial Federation, during this period of time, the supplies of these 6th-level commanders have not been affected in the slightest, and the size of the fleet has actually expanded a lot. Internal and external collusion? Huang Du exclaimed in surprise. Huang Yue nodded. "It's the Wakana tribe." "What exactly do the Wakanas want?" Huang Du frowned. "Those commanders have the support of a 7th-level civilization behind them, so they have the confidence to confront the Imperial Federation head-on, but Huang Du can't figure out how the Wakana colluded with them and what conditions the two sides reached. They want the interstellar world of the Imperial Federation, Huang Yue said directly. StarWorld? Huang Du looked at his grandfather in surprise. Interstellar world. Huang Yue nodded and said, "It's not a day or two for the Wakana people to be greedy for the interstellar world, but due to the existence of the 887s of two 7th-level civilizations, Callista and Dribri, they have not been able to openly snatch them." The dissatisfaction of ManhwaRecap and others with the Central Committee of the Imperial Federation gave the Wakana tribe an opportunity. This time, the Wakana tribe used their hands to force the Imperial Federation to hand over the interstellar world. "Grandfather, how do you know so well?" "The Wakana tribe has come to the door," Huang Yue said. "Oh?" Seeing Huang Du's face covered with circles, Huang Yue said indifferently, "You think the Wakana must have negotiated terms with ManhwaRecap and others, right?" Huang Du nodded. "I also believe that they must have negotiated the terms." Huang Yue said, "But Xiaodu, if you think about it from the perspective of the Wakana tribe, is it easier for them to obtain the interstellar world through ManhwaRecap and others, or through the Imperial Federation Central Committee? Is it easy to get StarWorld?" Huang Du thought for a while, and suddenly said in surprise, "Wakana people took ManhwaRecap and others? To achieve the goal, use any means." Huang Yue said calmly. "Xiaodu, politics is dirty. People like ManhwaRecap, although they are first-class talents in commanding wars, they are too simple. The Wakana tribe has reached an agreement with the Central Committee of the Imperial Federation. The Imperial Federation will use the interstellar world to exchange some of the 7th-level civilization technology of the Wakana tribe, and at the same time, in exchange for the Wakana tribe to cut off the support of ManhwaRecap and others and block their retreat. For such a change, Huang Du was speechless. It is estimated that ManhwaRecap and others would never have imagined that the Wakana people not only sold them so quickly, but also stepped on them. "Grandfather, what does the Empire Federation decide to do with those commanders?" After a long silence, Huang Du spoke again. "Kill one as an example." Murderous words came out of Huang Yue's mouth. Huang Du's eyes widened instantly, and he looked at Huang Yue in shock. At this time, he suddenly felt that his grandfather was a 3-star general of the Empire who had experienced many battles, not an old man who held endless meetings every day. No one knows when the Imperial Federation attracted a large number of senior commanders. A moment ago, the high level of the Empire Federation was still issuing a statement, saying that the high level of the Federation was making a detailed assessment of the demands of the 7 commanders, including ManhwaRecap. But at the next moment, all of a sudden, 11 6th-level commanders of the Imperial Federation, leading nearly 100 5th-level commanders, confronted ManhwaRecap, Song Shani, Peng Qifeng, Wang Qi, and Dongshan Yuqi. Li Jianhua, Sikong Majestic, and 7 6th-level commanders launched a surprise attack. It wasn't until the soldiers approached the city that the 7 6th-level commanders reacted. It was at this time that Meng Ze received a communication from Fantastic Xing Yahue. "What did you say?" Meng Ze stared wide-eyed, staring at Fantasia Xing Yahue in disbelief. "The Imperial Federation has already sold the Star World to the Wakana tribe, and it will hand over the Star World to the other party as soon as the frontline war is over." Fantasia Xing Yahue looked at Meng Ze and said again, "Hee hee, haha, it's so F*** G funny. I just took a good vacation, but my house was stolen." Although Meng Ze was smiling, his eyes became more and more fierce. "Meng Ze, the Imperial Federation has no choice. I know that you have put in a lot of hard work to protect the interstellar world, but now that things have come to an end, you should be more open." Fantasia Xing Yahue only thought that Meng Ze was reluctant to part with the interstellar world, and persuaded him. "No, boss, you don't understand." Meng Ze waved his hand, then looked serious and said, "Boss, that means the interstellar world will not belong to the Empire Federation from now on, right? It is still in the hands of the Imperial Federation, but it will not be after the handover." "That's good, I understand." Meng Ze nodded and said, "Meng Ze, don't do anything stupid. The Empire Federation has signed an agreement with the Vakanas. Now that the Star World has been closely watched by the Vakanas, there is nothing you can do." Dream Xing Yahweh looked worriedly Meng Ze. He felt that Meng Ze's tone was not right. Don't worry, boss. I know what's going on. By the way, you sent me a message just to tell me the news? Meng Ze asked, changing the topic. Not exactly. I'm also very unhappy with the decision of the Imperial Federation, but we can't resist. So I want you to liberate the relic Zerg as soon as possible, even if it adds a little block to the Kana tribe. Dream Xing Yahweh explained his intention. Big brother, don't worry. I will leave this matter to me. Meng Ze took it all down. Afterwards, Meng Xing Yahweh told Meng Ze a few more words. He was afraid that Meng Ze would not be able to accept the chaos, so he put himself in it. Meng Ze responded casually, and when he hung up the communication, Meng Ze showed a cold smile. Wakana, you want the interstellar world, right? I'm waiting for you to get it. At this time, Meng Ze no longer had any scruples and completely let go of his hands and feet. Within a day, more than 100,000 galaxies and more than 1,000,000 planets were added. There are no defenses on these planets. Only one thing has been built, a 7-level spaceship shipyard. That's right, it's not level 6, it's level 7. The core technology of the 7th-level civilization of the Wakana tribe, obtained from the Protoss, was quickly integrated into the interstellar world by Akka, making Meng Ze a unique 7th-level player commander in the interstellar world. The command center of the 7th level, various buildings of the 7th level, and the improved and upgraded space battleship of the 7th level. Every moment, the number of planets and space shipyards owned by Meng Ze is increasing, and the number of battleships is skyrocketing. 10 days later, under the encirclement and suppression of more than a dozen 6th-level commanders and nearly 100 5th-level commanders, the warships of ManhwaRecap and others were exhausted, and their retreat was blocked by the Wakana people with overlapping solidified spaces. I regretted at the beginning. At the last moment when the main planet was destroyed, ManhwaRecap smiled at himself, closed his eyes gently, and left his last words in this world. The time is up, Meng Ze. The Imperial Federation will use its authority to delete all the data in the interstellar world. If you don't go out, you will be in danger. Fantasy Xing Yahweh finally sent a notice to Meng Ze. Okay, thank you boss, I see. After receiving Meng Ze's reply, Fantastic Xing Yahweh also quit the StarWorld. A few minutes later, a strong wave swept across the entire world, and the floating islands, planets, galaxies, star fields, and even the cloud platform of the Empire Federation that the players spent countless efforts to build were instantly wiped out. In the end, there was only an incomparably huge star field left, floating alone in the starry sky. In the Zerg Forbidden Land, when the powerful wave of death swept across, Alec was almost scared to pee. It never knew that the Imperial Federation had such a powerful means. But when the ripple swept to the extremely powerful king's star field in Abelic's heart, he turned a blind eye to this huge star field and went around directly. And Alexei, who was surrounded by the Meng Ze star field, naturally survived. Albrecht's admiration for his big king is like a torrential river. Imperial Commonwealth Frontier. When Eravana Meyer received the key of the interstellar world from the hands of the Imperial Federation personnel, the incomplete crystal nucleus fragment forged by Akka, his heartbeat slowed down. The wish of the Wakana people for many years is about to be fulfilled, and the subworld that hides the 8th-level civilization technology will soon belong to the Wakana people. In order to show importance and to ensure the safety of the key, the Wakana tribe not only sent Eravana Meyer, who is the elder of the tribe, but also sent an escort fleet of as many as 1 billion. At the same time, it is not known how many fleets are always ready to teleport. After checking and confirming the rules of the world lingering on the crystal nucleus fragments, Eravana Meyer solemnly put the key into a special box. The battleship riding on the Wakana tribe jumped and disappeared in an instant. In the dimensional space, the 7th-level civilized battleship and escort fleet that Eravana Meyer was on board jumped forward in the form of flickering, and each flicker was a distance of hundreds of thousands of light years. In just 10 seconds, the fleet that Eravana Meyer was in was tens of thousands of light years away from the border of the Empire Federation. At this moment, the blow among the raw materials came. The dimensional space solidified in an instant, solidifying the surrounding escort warships of Eravana Meyer in it. But the Wakana tribe had been prepared for a long time, and within 0.1 second, the solidified space was instantly shattered. In this short 0.1 second, countless attacks have landed on the shields of the escorting fleet. The seemingly thin shield, which can be broken with a poke, is not damaged at all under the powerful attack. If you look carefully, you will find that it is not without loss, but that the shield that seems to have only one layer is actually formed by stacking hundreds of thousands of layers of shields by using space technology. The sudden attack only broke dozens of layers. The raiders obviously knew that such a blow would not be successful in one blow, and then countless battleships appeared with a thin layer of shields on the ships. The two sides started a fierce battle, and the warship shuttled and flickered in the broken space. Occasionally, the space will freeze and open. In the hands of the 7th-level civilization, the space is like a toy for them, being played around at will. Eravana Meyer looked at the situation on the observer's battlefield, and the Wakana fleet, which had been prepared for a long time, did not lose the wind even in the face of the joint attack of the two civilizations of Callista and Dribri. New fleets from the three parties continued to join the battle, and the entire battlefield expanded rapidly, from the original range of thousands of light years to hundreds of thousands of light years. The BDL river system that the Empire Federation had just used for handover was suddenly shrouded in the battlefield. Countless powerful attacks tore through the dimensional space and appeared in various areas of the BDL *** river system. Most of them lost their targets and became wandering beams of light in the starry sky, or they would suddenly hit some unlucky ghost after many years, or will slowly dissipate. And some of them appeared directly near the various planets. If it is blocked by the Imperial Federation army, even if it is blocked by a defensive array, it will be fine. Once it is not blocked, the planet will be destroyed in an instant. Even if it is only slightly hit by an attack, the planet will be bitten off, forming a big gap. In addition to these attacks, when the space manipulated on a large scale is shattered, a strong space storm and dimensional energy leakage are formed in the positive space. The powerful space debris is like a sharp scalpel, sweeping through the void. As long as it is not a defensive array formed by a large number of fleets, other warships, space fortresses, or even planets will be divided into two. The entire BDL ** river system is like a small boat in the sea, ravaged by strong winds and waves at will, and is in danger of capsizing at any time. In this situation, the Imperial Federation dared not speak out, and could only use a large number of warships to form a battleship group to protect the most important part. The battle lasted for 3 days, and the three civilizations suffered heavy losses. In the end, the Wakana had no choice but to sit down and negotiate with Callista and Dribri. The three civilizations reached a compromise and jointly studied the interstellar world. However, because the Wakana have mastered the crystal nucleus fragments of the interstellar world, they will definitely have an advantage in the future research progress. Callista and Dribri are well aware of this, but the StarWorld itself was also obtained by the Vakanas, so the two civilizations have no objection. Interstellar space. In the heartland of the triangle, Shinoha, formed by the three civilized territories of the Wakana, Callista, and Dribri, countless warships gathered, waiting for the opening of the interstellar world. These warships will serve as the vanguard of various civilizations stationed in the interstellar world. After the connection between each civilization and the interstellar world is completed, more warships will enter it and guard their respective territories. Under the joint witness of the high-level leaders of the three civilizations, Eravana Meyer took out the crystal fragments obtained from the Imperial Federation, put it into a special instrument, and activated it. Powerful energy poured into the crystal shards continuously, and a special wave emanated from the crystal shards. In front of the debris, a large area of space began to fluctuate, and as the fluctuation became more and more intense, it seemed that a thin layer of space had been lifted, exposing another layer of space boundary membrane. Under the strange fluctuations, the inner space boundary membrane gradually became thinner, and the interstellar world gradually unveiled its mysterious veil like 3 7th-level civilizations. When the space boundary film is thin enough to a certain extent, it suddenly shatters, revealing that there is nothing in it? What the hell? Why are there so many warships? Tools. That was the last thought of Eravana Mayer and most of those present. A penetrating ray of light, composed of countless attacks, swept across the void in an instant. Whether it was the battleships of the Wakana, Callista, or Dribri, they were all torn apart in an instant like paper. Immeasurable warships then poured out from the interstellar world and began to strangle the slaughtered warships. If the battlefield around the interstellar world is just a lesson that Meng Ze taught the 3 7th-level civilizations, then the high-latitude teleportation aimed at the entire territory of the Wakana tribe will be a comprehensive blow. Just when Callista and Dribri learned that the fleet they sent to the interstellar world had been attacked and were preparing for reinforcements, they suddenly received information from the Wakana tribe. The Wakana tribe suffered a high-latitude teleportation raid. At least hundreds of billions of warships are fighting fiercely throughout the territory. The Wakana tribe was stunned by Meng Ze's sudden attack. They didn't know who the enemy was or why they attacked them. The Wakana quickly opened up space isolation throughout the territory, wanting to rely on geographical advantages and space technology advantages to seize the initiative. As a 7th-level civilization, the Wakana tribe's standing combat power is extremely powerful, with the number of warships in the hundreds of billions. However, Meng Ze's fleet itself possesses level 7 civilization technology, and it was improved by AKA on the basis of the Wakana technology, which is stronger than the Wakana technology. The transfer of the Chinese fleet has had a certain impact, but it still cannot change the situation of the battle. At the same time, the follow-up support of the Meng Ze fleet is all sent through Galway, and it is sent at fixed points according to the battlefield situation. The Wakana can't prevent it at all. Although the situation on the battlefield is excellent, Meng Ze also knows that the Wakana tribe is a top-level 7th-level civilization after all, and it is difficult to completely kill the opponent. If the Wakana want to disperse and transfer, even Meng Ze will have difficulty preventing them. So after a day of fierce fighting, Meng Ze finally issued a public statement. Meng Ze, the former 4th-level commander of the Imperial Federation, has been officially promoted to the 7th-level commander. The interstellar world has started self-government, and the war against the Wakana people this time is a retaliation against the Wakana people for unreasonably peeping at the interstellar world dominion, and the consequences of all actions will be borne by the interstellar world dominion. In order not to make it difficult for the many friends of the Imperial Federation and the Meng family, Meng Ze did not declare independence, but broke away from the jurisdiction of the Imperial Federation in the form of an autonomous dominion, which can be regarded as giving the Imperial Federation 10 steps. Seeing the power of Meng Ze, immediately after Meng Ze issued the 640 statement, the Wakana tribe issued a statement calling for a truce and a negotiation to resolve the issue. Meng Ze immediately agreed and withdrew his fleet temporarily. Meng Ze, the Wakana tribe, and the Imperial Federation invited by Meng Ze sat together and started negotiations. After a month of negotiations, the Wakana tribe announced that they would give up the ownership of the interstellar world purchased from the Imperial Federation. The 7-level civilization technology that had been paid to the Imperial Federation would no longer be taken back. Instead, the Imperial Federation would use resources for exchange. Annual payment. After Meng Ze and the Wakana reached an agreement, Callista and Dribri also reached a settlement with Meng Ze after friendly negotiations. The Imperial Federation publicly recognized the legitimacy of the autonomy of the interstellar world and unified its propaganda. Promote Meng Ze as a hero who has devoted a lot of effort to the interstellar world and fought back because he couldn't bear the interstellar world to be exiled in a foreign country. Intelligent Life did not rebel against Meng Ze, and it became a strong evidence that Meng Ze did not rebel against the civilization of the Empire Federation. At the same time, the Imperial Federation also officially announced the promotion of Meng Ze as the first 7th-level commander of the Imperial Federation, with the rank of 3-star general. In addition, in order to maintain a good relationship with Meng Ze, and at the same time commend the credit for quelling the civil turmoil in the Imperial Federation, the Imperial Federation has also promoted Ning Shang, the Killer, and Cashin Delawarley to the 10th-level general. Fantasy Xing Yahue was promoted 2 ranks in a row, and was promoted to the 3rd major general. Meng Xiaohan of the Meng family was promoted to the 1st rank of general. Even Meng Qi, who was quite hostile to Meng Ze before, was promoted to Major General. After a series of personnel adjustments, the Imperial Alliance calmed down again. However, it lost 7 sixth-level commanders at one time, and the Imperial Federation was also hurt. It is also unable to attack in the direction of the Zerg. Fortunately, the turmoil of the Zerg civil war has intensified, and it has already affected 3 river systems in just a few months. 1 year later. At this time, Abelok has already occupied nearly half of the territory of the Zerg, and Mariano can only maintain it with difficulty. Due to the tense battle with Abelok, Mariano had to increase the squeeze on the branch Zerg, which further led to the dissatisfaction of the subordinate Zerg within him. According to Meng Ze's prediction, within a year, Mariano will be finished. It was at this time that Meng Ze contacted the 3 big men who were not confused for a moment, Killer and Cashandela Worley. Meng Ze, long time no see. I haven't contacted for a long time, but I suddenly received a message from Meng Ze. It's surprising that I didn't feel lost for a moment. Big brothers, I'm sorry. You also know that in my current situation, there are actually many inconveniences. Meng Ze said truthfully. The 3 bosses nodded in agreement. Now Meng Ze is still in the Imperial Federation in name, but everyone knows that he has actually gone out independently in a disguised form. On the one hand, the Imperial Federation wants to maintain its relationship with Meng Ze, using Meng Ze's power to deter the 7th-level civilization, and on the other hand, it is wary of him wooing and infiltrating the Imperial Federation. I don't know why you asked us to come this time? For a moment, he asked directly without being confused. Give credit to the 3 big brothers, Meng Ze said. Seeing that the 3 were at a loss, Meng Ze explained his arrangement in the Zerg. You mean, the Zerg that made trouble inside the Zerg is yours? Cashandela Worley said in surprise. You are also familiar with it, it is Alexei. Meng Ze smiled. It's incredible that you actually turned it into your own worm. For a moment, he said without being confused and surprised. Now this arrangement is considered useless, so I just give some credit to the bosses. Meng Ze said. Tell me how to do it. Meng Ze said his thoughts again. To put it bluntly, it is nothing more than weeding out the strong and helping the weak. Now that Abelok has the advantage, they will fight Abelok, and when Abelok is almost weakened, they will fight Mariano. With Meng Ze around, the 2 Zergs would never join forces. Moreover, Meng Ze will also share Abelok's map with the 3 bosses. In this case, it would be damned if the 3 6th-level commanders couldn't beat the Zerg. With Meng Ze's information, as soon as the call ended, the 3 bosses mobilized troops to attack the Zerg. Caught off guard, Alec immediately suffered heavy losses. Asking for help from the Big King, Meng Ze only left him a sentence. Come back when you've had enough fun. Afterwards, the manufacturing cost of Albrecht arms skyrocketed. This kind of situation made Abelok, who was used to spending a small amount of money to build elite soldiers, almost vomit blood, but it also made him understand that no matter how high he jumped, his life was firmly in the king's hands. It took 2 years to sacrifice all the units of the relic Zerg in the real world, and the Imperial Federation's encirclement and suppression of the Zerg has also come to an end. Because they took the lead in destroying the enemy of the Empire for hundreds of years, there was no confusion for a moment. The Killer and Cashandela Worley were officially promoted to the 3 seedy generals, standing at the top of the Empire's federal military. And the fatworm Abelok has completely become Meng Ze's pet. In order to praise him for his wit, Meng Ze originally prepared another female worm for him as a companion, but the 2 worms fought every day, and then Meng Ze stopped being wronged. Abelok learned from the mouth that it was actually a female bug. 100 years passed in a flash. Blue Star has reached the primary stage of a secondary civilization. At this time, there is no distinction between countries on Blue Star, and everyone has only one identity, Xiagwar. However, the current Blue Star Xia country implements a citizen hierarchy. The newly implemented citizen hierarchy is divided into 12 levels. The original Xia people and the first batch of people who joined the Xia country had an initial level of 7, and then they were promoted to the citizen level according to their contributions, and enjoyed the treatment of the same level. After the friendly countries of the former Xia kingdom joined the Xia kingdom, the initial level was 3, and then the citizen level was promoted according to the contribution. However, after people from Western countries join the Xia Kingdom, their initial level is 0, and they can only be promoted to citizen levels based on their contributions. Meng Ze's StarWorld is no longer his own. The relatives on the blue star have all moved to the interstellar world and have begun to gradually adapt to the differences of higher-level civilizations. Meng Ze, I want to go back and have a look. AKA suddenly appeared beside Meng Ze. At this time, Meng Ze also exists in an information state, but out of habit, he maintains the outline of a human being. Okay, let's go together. I also want to see what your original civilization looks like, AKA. Meng Ze said immediately without further ado. Okay. AKA was relieved that Meng She hadn't changed at all. Aka began to trace his own information, and in the eyes of Meng Ze in the information state, scenes of Aka's past flashed past. When going back to when Aka first appeared at a certain time-space node, the screen suddenly broke, and the information above was completely blank. At this time, Aka took out the mysterious thread of causality and traced the source directly through the causal connection. The originally blank information suddenly appeared in a messy picture. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 10 minutes later. Finally traced back to the location of the original civilization. It's just that there is nothing in this position. AKA's figure shook for a while, as if the whole ball was about to dissipate. AKA, what's the matter with you? Meng Ze was shocked. Meng Ze's exclamation called Aka back, but Meng Ze could still feel Aka's bewilderment. Meng Ze, the original civilization is gone. After a long silence, AKA suddenly said, What? Meng Ze thought he had heard wrong. I said, the original civilization is gone. Gone forever. AKA repeated. How is this possible? The confidant of myself and AKA has always been the most serious enemy, and the object that has always been the strongest enemy is gone? And it looks like it's long gone. What exactly is going on? As if feeling the doubts of Meng Ze and Aka, the thread of cause and effect in Aka's hand suddenly moved by itself. It shattered in an instant, turning into a string of messages that could be understood by the two of them. Heir of civilization. When you can see this information, it proves that you have reached the threshold of a 9th-level civilization. Everything has a cause and effect. The original civilization you were in used countless ways to affect the stability of all civilizations in the universe. When he finds the way to the 9th-level civilization, he has already decided what he should bear. In each universe, there can only be one 9th-level civilization. When we do not find the way to the upper level, all the attempts of the lower-level civilization, it's futile. A civilized wise man once said, "Destiny is within the cone of light." Although this sentence is not correct in our opinion, when the cone of light becomes the cone of time, it is the road to the 9th level of civilization. The law of time causality, the 8th-level civilization manipulates space and lives in time, while the 9th-level civilization stands above time. When you can reverse the time cone and have the ability to edit it, then the fate of everything in the universe is in your hands. At the moment you are informed of this information, you have already left this universe and got rid of the fate of reincarnation with the universe, and the future and even the past of the universe will be written by you. 17. Good luck, inheritor of civilization. After reading the message, both Meng Ze and Aka understood that the message was left to Aka by the 9th-level civilization, but perhaps it was because they had already left and did not know that Aka and Meng Ze were bound by cause and effect. Fixed together. Today, the successors of civilization have become Aka and Meng Ze with one ball and one person. There were ups and downs in my heart, and I was full of emotions for one person and one ball at a time. One day in 10,000 years. Meng Ze, I seem to have found the feeling of a 9th-level civilization. Then try it. Well, you don't mind if I experiment with Albrecht? Just use it. Success seems to be success, but I accidentally threw Alexi's derivative body over 10,000 years ago. Aka was a little embarrassed. What? 27. Meng Ze was taken aback. Then he thought of the Zerg that inexplicably appeared when the Empire Federation and the Protoss were at war. Damn it, the Mariano that a Bellic beat up 10,000 years ago is its other self.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe.